We got a lot of racing action going on this weekend here. Plenty to go on. Thanks for clicking on another edition of the Arizona Race Report. Lots of dirt track action. We got almost every track in action this Saturday night. Plus also the NASCAR playoffs starting this weekend. So we'll get into all of that. But before we even get there, let's talk about the series that actually ran this past Saturday night. The Santan Ford ASCS Desert Non-Wing Sprint Car Series out at Arizona Speedway. Hey, look who jumped in at 360. RJ Johnson takes the win. Dennis Guile Jr., great to see him picking up a second place finish coming back from his pretty gruesome injury just a couple months ago. Josh Knopner taking the wing off. He finishes off in third. And how about Rick Schumann in the 25 AZ picking up a fourth place finish? Andy Soul would round out your top five. And we're saying our best wishes and hopefully a speedy recovery to Tyler Most, a regular in this series who had a very nasty crash on Saturday night. He was released from the hospital after sustaining some pretty major injuries, but he is back home, released from the hospital earlier this week. And so great to see him at home, and we're wishing him the best in a speedy recovery. Taking a look at the points, I bet you guys are wondering, where were the Shipleys? Don't worry, they're still okay in the points. Joshua Shipley, currently your leader, 18 points ahead of Kyle Shipley. And then after that, the series, yeah, they're a little bit behind the two Shipleys, but 5 combined wins this year from the Shipleys, and they have kind of ran away with the points lead right now. Your next race will be September 28th in Queen Creek. Arizona Speedway will host them in just a couple of weeks. How about the ASCS series with a wing? Yeah, the Southwest region will be racing this weekend out in Tucson at USA Raceway. Yeah, the points have changed a little bit this summer. Colton Hardy, your current points leader, ahead of Eric Wilkins, who has those 2 wins, only 22 points behind Hardy. JT Imperial, he's still in this, guys, 55 points behind Hardy. Then still, Lauren Wofford, Jesse Baker, they are still kind of in the mix here. So this series, very, very interesting moving forward as we're still pretty tight heading towards the end of the year. Then we have our USAC Southwest Sprint Cars. They will be racing in Peoria on Saturday night at Canyon Speedway Park. We still have no repeat winners, and we'll see if we can keep that rolling or not. But Brody Roa still leads your points, but is kind of having a little bit slimmer margin ahead of RJ Johnson, only 32 points away from your leader. Stevie Sussex is only 59 points behind Roa. Then Charles Davis Jr. and Mike Martin round out the top 5. You know, maybe Charles Davis Jr. or maybe Matt Rossi can squeak out a win and keep our no repeat winners through 11 races going, but we'll have to wait and find out. Brody Roa certainly wants to kind of gap RJ Johnson when it comes to the points lead. And as I mentioned, we got a little bit going on this weekend when it comes to racing. Essentially, if you're in Arizona, there's probably a race somewhere in your area. Peoria has Canyon Speedway Park, the USAC Sprint Cars, along with a bunch of other sports mods, stock cars, mod lights, and then the micro sprints will also be out on the big track. Out in Casa Grande and Central Arizona Speedway, you got a couple IMCA series, the Pier Stocks and the Bombers, Dwarf Cars, Power 600 Midgets as well. Out in Tucson, you got 2 choices. You got USA Raceway. They have the ASCS Southwest Sprint Car Series, also some IMCAs and some stock cars and Hornets. And then out, if you want a little bit of pavement action, Tucson Speedway also in action with the super late models, Thunder trucks, and then bunch of other like the Bandolero series and also modifieds, Hornets, Legends, you name it. So a lot of racing going on this weekend. So if you want to go see some racing action and you miss it, it's a little bit your fault this weekend. We got racing all over the state of Arizona this Saturday night. Before we let you go, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series begins the round of 16 this Sunday. A little bit up north in Las Vegas. Kyle Busch, your regular series champion, 44 points above the cut line. And it's always fun when you have 8 drivers all within 8 points of each other with the cut line smack dab in the middle. Arizona's own Alex Bowman, 4 points ahead of the cut line in 9th, ahead of his teammate William Byron, who's just under the cut line. We'll see what 12 move on, and of course, we're excited to find out who will be the final 8 drivers when it comes to the ISM Raceway semifinal race to determine what 4 drivers will race for a championship in Homestead Miami Speedway. Your other Arizona drivers, Michael McDowell in 28th, and JJ Yaley, he was racing at Indianapolis this past Sunday, so that was fun to see. The round of 16 includes Las Vegas, Richmond, and ending this year with the Charlotte Roval as the cutoff race. Well, guys, be sure to keep it here to Sports 360 AZ. Like I mentioned, if you don't go to a race and you want to, that's kind of your fault this weekend. It's all over the map this Saturday night, but be sure to stick here on sports360az.com for all your local racing action, and we'll see you next week.